Hello, and welcome to Judy's Creations in Crochet. He wants to be here, but he's just not completely comfortable. My lap really isn't big enough when I'm sitting in this chair. Well, welcome everybody. Here we are at the very end of the year, the last video of the year. 2024 is just about gone. I feel I should be wearing some real sparkly outfit to celebrate the new year, but I have several things I want to show you, and I'll do that in just a minute. But before that, I want to I want to welcome everybody, both if you're new here. I am so happy you stopped by, and I hope you will be back again to see more of my videos. And for my regular subscribers, thanks for taking some time out of your busy holiday time to stop by and see my videos and keep in touch and keep up to date. I am coming to you from Chatham, Ontario, which is the southernmost part of Ontario. And I am about crochet, obviously, but I'm about finished objects or working on projects, talking about anything related to crochet. And I'm also about yarn. I particularly focus on hand-dyed yarn. I like to show you dyers that I find, and right now, predominantly Canadian. I don't think, other than EFA, and that stands for Expression Fiber Arts for those of you that are new here. Other than EFA, I haven't bought anything from the US, at least this last year. I can't remember buying anything that wasn't Canadian. We have plenty of hand dyers here in Canada, and I like to show them to you. And in fact, it often might be a bargain for you to buy Canadian. Do you realize on Ravelry, now other places aren't quite as high, but on Ravelry right now, they're charging 50% exchange. So if I buy a pattern that says it's $6 US, it costs me $9 US and a few pennies. It could be either way, a few pennies. But yeah, Ravelry is charging 50%. Other places it's 47 or so percent. I don't figure it out exactly, but I can see it's a little less than 50. So with that kind of exchange rate, now it's a little different going the other direction. But if you buy something in Canadian money, in US funds, it's going to be much less. So you would be getting a pretty good deal if you buy anything Canadian at this point. I hope it doesn't stay that way, because I have seen a number of things that I would like to get in the US, but I don't look too carefully right now. I don't spend a lot of time on US sites just because of that exchange rate, and of course shipping. That always adds to it. So anyway, by the way, if you still have time today and want to go on EFA, they have 20% off site-wide until midnight tonight. And I was trying to make an order. If you're in the US and you spend $50, you get free shipping. In Canada, of course, we have to pay the shipping, but usually it's somewhat reasonable, but it's as if it doesn't have the flat rate or the US postal rate in there. It's charging only high priority right now. So I was going to make an order, but I haven't, because the shipping on my order was like $77, and there's no way I'm paying that kind of shipping. Anyway, enough of that. Let's, do you want down? Okay, bye-bye. Thanks for all the hair. I have a tickle in my nose. So before we get started with the slideshow, and everybody's here to see the slideshow, that's the big draw at the end of the month, I want to first talk about some items I've finished, and you can see for yourself. I finished the scarf I said I was making out of my Advent minis. This is called Advent Adventure by Mark Roseboom, a pattern on Ravelry, and I will link to the pattern in the description box below. And this was a lot of old minis I had for quite a while, and a few of them were scraps. I had scraps from previous projects that weren't very big, and I ended up making this. I didn't make it exactly the way he says. He goes around each strip. By the way, his is for a blanket. I didn't want to make a blanket. As you know, I have another blanket planned, which I'll talk about on Thursday. But he went around every strip, or along the sides of every strip, with a half double crochet first before he joined them together. And I was just a little worried that the remnant that I had in this color might not be enough to go actually 4 sides and then join it. So I just used his instructions to join it, which was a slip stitch. So you see I have a slip stitch, and I put it to the back side, and then I went around just the 2 sides and the ends with that color. And I did have yarn left over. I don't know if it would have been enough to do half double crochets on both of these pieces, but if you did it that way, you would have a nice dark brown seam going up between the different strips. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that I did finish it because I said I would in my last video. So that means that I got one more item in my stash down, because these were all old scraps and minis. So I can add one more to my stash down for the month and for the year. And I can take add one more project completed for the year, which would take me to, I think I was 59, did I say? Or was I 58? I think it was 59. Now I can go to 60 now. Whatever the number was, I got one more item done. And I'm really happy about that. But that's not all. I went to work on another. When I finished this, I had like a whole week before the new year was starting. I really didn't want to start something and carry it into the new. I have fluff floating all over from the cat. Anyhow, I didn't want to start a major project that would carry to the new year. I really wanted to get started on my January item for the MAL, which we'll be talking about in a few minutes. But of course, I couldn't start it until I did this video and showed you the yarn. So I decided, if you remember, that I had been working on an item. It was a wrap from EFA called Fail. And it was a corner to corner with some lacy open work in between sections of the corner to corner. And I did it for Kathy's MAL because I had never done corner to corner before. And I started it and made some progress, but it's a very wide wrap, and I felt like I was never ever going to get it finished. And I wasn't enjoying it because I was using pearlescent fingering from EFA, which is very slippery. I had the wrong hook to start with because it was sliding terrible, and so I changed hooks. And the one thing, it has a lot of slip stitches in that pattern. And I find it must be the way I do slip stitches, because almost every slip stitch, it'd be falling off the hook, sliding right off, and I'd have to do it again. So as you remember, I said I'm putting it to the side for now. And since I was done all the things that I had a goal to finish, I said, okay, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to work on it again for a little while. I could tell when I picked it up that I wasn't going to be at it for a very long time because it was big. Well, I got a couple rows done, and then I noticed at the very beginning I had made a mistake, so I had to pull out the 2 rows. And while I'm pulling it out, I noticed along the side that it had a big dip in it. I had made some kind of error. And I kept looking at it and pulling it apart and saying, well, I haven't missed a stitch, but it really went along and then dipped, almost as if it was 1 row short or something. I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. But I said, I'm not really going to worry about it because pearlescent fingering is really good yarn for blocking. And I thought, when it comes time to block, I'll just pull this nice and straight and you really won't see whatever the problem is. So while I was looking at that and doing it and seeing how long it was and thinking, oh man, this is going to take me forever, I got a brainwave. At least for me, it was a brainwave. And I decided, you know what? I don't have to make this as big as a wrap. I don't need a wrap anyway. I think what I'm going to do when I finish, I was in the lace part. When I finish this lace part, I'm going to use the instructions to then close it up. In other words, come back to a point. Those of you who made corner to corner know what I'm talking about. So I said, I'll make it shorter. It's still a pretty good length, and I'll join it, and I'm going to make a cowl, a nice big drapey cowl out of this. And so I did. So here it is. You can see it is still quite large, and it's my favorite color. So it's a beautiful cowl. Now, some people even take big cowls like this and drape it over their shoulders, which can be done. I see in EFA they had a pattern where they did that, and it could drape down. I kind of like that too. But I really, really like the puddling cowl. And some people would even, if they're wearing this and they go outside, would make a hoodie out of it. I'm not a hoodie person, so I wouldn't be putting it up there. But I absolutely love it, and it goes down a decent amount, almost to my waist. And I finished it. One more item I can put on my finished list for 2024, and one less UFO to carry over to 2025. So now I only had 2 things I started this year that I didn't finish that carried over, plus 1 from the year before. So I'll be looking at those 3 items later in the spring, late winter, early spring, somewhere, and making a decision which ones will I keep and which ones will I try to finish next year. But I am really happy with this. I can link this pattern. I'll link it in EFA. It's in Ravelry too, but you can't buy EFA patterns in Ravelry. You have to buy it on their site. But I am really happy how this turned out. But I tell you, I am very, very unlikely to do a corner to corner again. Now, I think the problem is that this was very, I'm going to say lightweight yarn. And I think corner to corner lends itself more to maybe a DK or even a worsted weight yarn, a 3 or a 4. This yarn, not only is it supposedly a 1, but it's very silky. Maybe even having a 2 weight, a sport weight would be fine. Or if I had used something like Sincere Sock, which has just a little more body to it in fingering, but this was not the thing. So anyhow, it's done, and I am super excited about it being done. So one more onto my finished pile, one less UFO. So, and here is the yarn I was using, and I had 2 skeins of it, and you can see I pretty much have almost a full ball. Now there's 550 yards in a skein of pearlescent fingering. So I think I have somewhere between 450 and 500 yards here. So I can still make an item with this particular skein that I have left. I might decide though to put this skein with a skein of something else and make an item that needs two colors. We'll see, but I still have a lot, and this is a color that I really like. So I'll just tell you a little bit about it. It's called Amphitrite, and it's pearlescent fingering, 550% superwash merino and 50% mulberry silk with 550 yards. They suggest a hook between a B and a G. And I'm trying to think if I think I used a 4mm hook. So that's that done, which I'm very, very happy to have that off my plate. And I didn't need a wrap, but I will get use out of this for sure. Now, finally, we want to talk about the December MAL. And while I'm talking, I will put the picture up of the bird. In this case, it was several birds for December, and show you I had two different yarns, and I ended up only using this one. And if you recall, I made a sort of scarf like this that was fiber spider pattern, and it was called the Brenna shawl or Brenna scarf. And I ran out. I only had one skein, and I took it out and I remade this, which is very similar to the Brenna, but the Brenna that I was following put scallop on both sides. This happens to be the pattern Just Bloom by C.J. Brady. And the pattern itself just puts the fancy on one side, and when you're all done, it says to go back along the top side and make some scallops similar to this. I didn't do it for two reasons. First of all, I didn't really feel the need to. I rather liked that edge. But the other reason is this is how much yarn I had. I think I have 7 grams. But when I looked at it and I looked at this long side, I thought, you know, I'm not sure there's enough. I'm almost positive there isn't enough to go along that side. So I'm not going to worry about it. I hope you can see it is sparkly. And it is a green that I like. It's multicolored, so I really did like it. And I will link the pattern in the description box. And the yarn, I don't have a color name, but the yarn is from Color of My Fiber. She is a Canadian dyer. I think she's in Quebec, and she's on Etsy. I will link her site, but I'll tell you, if you're interested in any of hers, you will want to go and check her out now, because she really isn't doing any business. She's just selling the stock she has. She's not dyeing anymore. She used to have like 500 and some odd listings on Etsy, and now she's down to 200 and something. So obviously she's selling out because she got a job and doesn't have the time to do this. So, and she has some lovely yarn. I got some really, really lovely yarn from her this past year. So that is my finished item for the MAL, and I will likely be selling it because it's rare that I wear green. So in case you're interested. Anyhow, my item. Now we want to see your items, and I'm really pleased to say we had a good showing, a good turnout. So we're going to start here with, I was going to have the pictures in front of me, but I don't think I can keep track of two things. So I'm just going to go with my notes and hope that I do the best job I can and hope that I don't mess up. And our first entry today is from Vicki, and Vicki is in California, and she has made this Christmas stocking. And you'll notice the Christmas colors, red, white, and green, which I was going to do something with the red and green skein and didn't get to it. But a lot of people took the opportunity to use those Christmas colors and make some Christmas items for the season. Next, we have Ellen, who is from Illinois, and she has made this scarf. And she says that she used a stitch that she learned from Bag O' Day at some point in the past and can't remember the name of the stitch. Then we have Anvita, who is from India, and she has knitted, I'm pretty sure it's knitted, that's what she does, what she calls the skinny scarf. Again, reds. And then we have Edith, or Edie, who is from New York, I think is what I understood. And I believe she called this the puzzle scarf. Then we have, if there's a box, she's going to get in it. Not much space in there, buddy. Then from Rebecca, who is in Mississippi, or is it Missouri? I never can keep those straight. I think she's Mississippi. She has made this shopping bag purse. She was busy making these as Christmas gifts and decided that she would make one in our December colors while she was at it. Then we have Judith, who is from California, and she has made all these little guys. She's into amigurumi, a whole lot of cute little items. I know that's something I'll never be able to do, and I can explain later. Then we have Marie, who is from Virginia, and once again, she has made a Boggy Creek blanket, and she said this one was pretty much made from scraps from all of her previous blankets during the year. And I think they're going to be very surprised when they get Marie's shipment, because I know she has 30-some blankets to send them. Then Cheryl from Oregon, she has made these tree ornaments. There are several different tree ornaments there. And again, our Christmas theme. And Nina from Massachusetts has made this cowl. Can you see all the sparkles? And she said this is the V-stitch ridge scarf, and it is from Sweet Bee Crochet. Then Raylene, who is from Australia, she's made 3 things here. First, we have a doily from, I can't say this, Rim Jim Colorful Threads. They're on YouTube, so she would have followed, I guess, the tutorial. Then she made what looks like a coaster, a small doily, and it is free from Crochet and Create. And finally, this Breath of Spring cowl, and that's a pattern by Fiber Flux, and I'm sure we're all familiar with Fiber Flux on YouTube, who does tutorials. Next, we have Renee from Alabama. She was trying to finish up a baby blanket and said she knew she couldn't get it done in time. So she quickly knitted up a couple of pot holders because she really wanted to submit something. Renee is very supportive and always has something. Then we have Bonnie from Pennsylvania, and she has done a Speedy Granny Ruth rainbow scarf and a Speedy Granny Ruth crochet hat. And these are from Krista at the Secret Yarnery. So again, you could find that on YouTube. And HD has made this sleeping doll amigurumi. And Barbara, who is in Alberta, has made this one skein wonder cowl, which is a pattern from Fiber and Fox. I did a focus on her a couple years ago now. You can find her on YouTube. Then we have Kathy, who is new. Her first submission is this Christmas throw. And Josephine, who is from North Carolina, has submitted quite a number of ornaments. I think she said they were 9, things like mittens and trees and birds, lots of them. And I gather that they're all free patterns. Then we have Melissa from Texas, and she has made this winter garden scarf. It was actually meant to be a lapgan. Oh, no, it was a winter garden scarf, and she made it wider into a lapgan. And once again, it's a pattern from Fiber Flux. She's popular this month. Then we have Maria, who is from Massachusetts, and she has done this trivet. She said she saw a picture and it really intrigued her. She wanted to do it, so she just used the picture and figured out for herself how to do it, and she explained all the colors around it, and that's what she submitted this month. Then we have Lillian, who is from Singapore, and she has submitted this table mat. And then we have Lillian, who is from Ontario, and she has done the vintage romance scarf or shawl from C.J. Brady. She said she made a little modification, I believe, in the lace that goes around it because she was running short of yarn. Okay, moving on. Demetra is also in Ontario, and she's done this mosaic hat. Now I'm going to, I don't usually show two, but the pictures are very hard to tell what's happening. So I'll show one is from the top and one is from the side. It's up a little too close, I think. Mosaic hat by Sarah Dawn's Designs. Then Tammy, who is somewhere in Canada, has done this stocking and wreath, little ornaments again. And Norma, who is from Texas, is also new, and she has made this baby blanket. Then Kathy, who is in Ontario, has knit this shawl. It's called Close to You shawl. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and the designer is Justina Larkowska. I probably didn't say it right, but that's how I see it. Then Lori, who is in PEI, that's Prince Edward Island, here in our smallest Canadian province. She has submitted this scarf. She said it's just your basic V-stitch scarf. Then Carmen, who is from California, has submitted this Carolina chevron cowl. Again, a free pattern in Ravelry. And it's by Jennifer Rosenfeld. And Denise, who's in Minnesota, has submitted to us this hat and cowl set, and it's something that will get donated a little later in the winter. Then we have Jackie, who is in North Carolina, and this is a hexagon cardie, and it comes from Crochet with Sylvia Happy Hobby. I guess that's the whole name of it on YouTube. So must have watched a tutorial there. Then we have Fran, who is in Ohio. And she's done this Just to Be Cute scarf. And the designer is Kathy Lashley. And Rosanna, who again is in Ontario, has made another lapgan for her donation that goes to the seniors' home. I need to find out the dimensions of a lapgan. Then we have Lynanne, who is in Florida, and she used the greens to make another Albert cat. That has been a popular pattern this past fall. And the pattern is by Air Wool, H-E-R-R, Air Wool, W-O-L-L-E. Then we have a Debbie that's in California, Debbie W, I believe it is. And she's done this cardinal ornament. See all the sparkle in the cardinal, and it comes from Crochet Corner. Lots of ornaments this year. I think that's pretty neat. Then we have Donna from New York, and she has made this pattern called Copper Beach by Carmen Heffernan. I did a focus on that designer a while back. I may have even made that pattern. And then she has also done a bunch of ornaments in this next picture. Then Tammy, who is in Ontario, you know, she's been busy making a lot of things for all her shows, and she said she made a bunch of Christmas gifts, things like arm warmers and a scarf and headbands and mittens and hats. Now she says the hat is the barley hat, and it comes from Tin Can Knits. I think you might be familiar with that name. I've heard it before. I don't knit, so I'm not familiar with them, but I've heard the name. And I think the mitts also come from Tin Can Knits. Then we have another Debbie who is in Arizona, and she's made this scarf. It's called the Falling Snowflakes scarf. It's by Sandy Harris, but it is a Yarnspiration free pattern. Then Lisa, who is in Ontario, has knit this hat. It's called the Citrus Hat by Laura Treadway. Next, we have Tina from Australia, and she's done this lap blanket, and it's from a YouTube video by Ninja Bunny Crochet. A lot of crochet channels out there I've never heard of. Then we have Christine, who is in Kentucky, and she's been doing the square of the month and promises to send me a picture sometime February or later of the completed Afghan with all of these put together. Which reminds me, we didn't get the square of the month from Judy, who is in Ontario. Next we have Deb, who is in Arizona. And she has done this sand drift scarf. And it's by Button Crochet. And she's also made a nice sparkly hoodie. Great for the Christmas season. Then we have Bonnie B, who is local to me. And she's done a few hats that she's just made up on her own. She didn't have a lot of colors this month, so she made up what she could and will be giving them to me for our donation box a little later. Now we have Diane K from Wisconsin, and also Diane is new. This is 3 new people we had this month participating, and I hope you will continue to participate, all of you. And she's made this dog sweater, and this is a pattern that's by Mikey from the Crochet Crowd. And then we have Cindy S. This is another new one. So that's 4 new people. And she's from Missouri. And she has made this scarf that she says is of her own design. Then Melissa K. And she decided to submit these hexagons that she has been making as practice for an EFA pattern, and she put the hexagons together in a scarf. And then Kimberly, the last 2 people, didn't tell me where they're from, has submitted this hexi-cardi. If I recall correctly, now 2 people gave me a cardi, but I think she said this was the first time she'd done it. I could be wrong. Please don't hold me to it. And we're going to end with Cindy H. from Costa Rica. And she sent me a couple of views of this blanket, and it's a blanket by Biba. Cindy particularly enjoys her patterns, her mosaic patterns, but I chose this one just because I thought it was so unique that she hung it from a tree to be able to get it to hang its full length and be able to take a picture of the whole thing. So that's our submissions for the month. And I'm very, very happy to report, excuse me, that we had 45 submissions this month. And I really didn't expect to get to 45, other than our month of 50. That's pretty much our highest. And with it being December, I really didn't expect quite so many patterns. I thought a lot of you would be too busy. But you know what? You were busy making Christmas things that used these colors. So you were able to, manage to do 2 things with one project. But, more than halfway through the month, I had very, very few submissions. And I wasn't upset. I thought, it's December. People are busy. I won't get as many this month. And I thought, I'll be lucky if I get 30. And you all came through, people. I am just so very pleased. We had 45. And that's a really good showing. So maybe that means our numbers might get even higher in the new year, because I do know a few that I didn't get something from. So thank you. Thank you all for being so supportive. And a couple of you said, I only did something small, but I wanted to be sure to get something in. And I do appreciate that you like to support me every month. I also get comments from people telling me that they really enjoy the MAL because, first of all, for some, it just gets you doing something. It gives you a purpose and something to make for the month, and that's good. Others tell me it's their inspiration to help them figure out what to do, and of course, to inspire you with the colors. And you really appreciate having this to do every month. And you know what? I appreciate every one of you that participates. So now we have to bring out the wheel, and I have to go and get it again. So sorry for that interruption. I had to go and find my thing, and I hit it to spin, and we're going to start all over again. So here it is. I know you can't read all of this. It's so tiny. I can't read it sitting here. So anyway, we are going to spin our wheel. Here we go. And the winner is Melissa from Texas. I have two Melissas, but this Melissa is from Texas. And I'm quite sure you haven't won anything before. So please, Melissa, get in touch with me. Send me an email. I will need your mailing address. And I have decided that I didn't bring it up. And for this month only, Melissa, I'm going to give you the choice. I have a cake of yarn, the same kind of cakes I was sending out before the mail strike. And if you would like that cake of yarn, I will send it to you. But if you would rather have a pattern from Ravelry, it must be from Ravelry, you must have a Ravelry account and a name there. You can give me that information and I'll send you a pattern. I'm going to give you the choice. I was going to do a pattern again this month, but mail is moving slowly, I think. And I won't do it until next week. This is Tuesday. Probably next week, Monday or Tuesday, I'll be able to get to the post office. So, you know, mail is starting to move a little bit better. So please get in touch with me, Melissa, who is from Texas, and let me know what your preference is, and we'll take care of it. So I don't usually do that, but a kind of funny situation going on here right now, so I will give you the choice. Now, and I know this is the part that everybody is always waiting for. So, first of all, I know I have new people, and I don't say the rules every month, but it's the beginning of a new year, and I am going to go through the rules. And I want to clear up some things because I don't think we're all quite on the same page. And I just wanted to make sure everybody is really clear on what we are doing here. First of all, I'm always going to come to you on the last day of the month. And that is new. As you see, today is December 31st. And I am going to show you the butterfly. It's all butterflies this year. I'm going to show you the butterfly for January. And then on January 31st, we'll do our slideshow. And I'll have, you know, something that says January MAL. I'm going to have to come up with a new logo for this year. Haven't done that yet. But at the end of January, we're going to be looking at the pictures for January. And that's why I decided to change it around. I thought we should be doing the month that we are doing. So I will show you a picture in a couple of minutes. And from that picture, I want you to get your inspiration. Now, I want to explain something a little more thoroughly. My whole purpose in doing this was, of course, to get people working together and enjoying a MAL. I am calling it a MAL. I'll explain in a minute. But I also had the purpose of wanting you to work with colors. I really like colors. I like working with colors. And I wanted you to sometimes work outside your box, maybe with colors you don't normally use. And I want you, please understand this because it's not always happening. I want you to use the picture for your color choices. Your inspiration comes from the picture. Your colors come from the picture. So if you have a red, white, and black picture, I expect I'm going to see red, white, and black, or one. You don't have to use one, but you can use all of them. I don't expect to see yellow, red, blue, green, and everything else. And that has been happening lately. I know you're using your stash, but I want you to be a little more careful that you are using the colors of the picture. And that's where your color choices come from and not something else. I've watched a few channels that use, well, movie posters and book covers, and there's something else I saw out there. And definitely when you see the projects, the colors have come from that picture and only that picture. So is that a little bit clearer to people? I really want your colors to only come from the picture. Now, I've not said anything about using the background. That's okay. Some of you do take from the background. I don't generally see the background very much. I look at the butterfly or the bird up till now. But if you use the background a bit, that's okay as well. But it's the butterfly we're concentrating on. Now, you can use one color, two colors, all the colors. I get the feeling some of you think you have to use all the colors in the picture, and you don't. Notice that this month I made something green, and only green, shades of green, because there were lots of different greens in the picture. I didn't use any other color, and that's okay. If you want to use more colors, that's okay. You can use 1, 2, 3, as many as are in the picture. You can do any yarn related craft. So I'm a crochet channel. You're going to get crochet from me every month. Some people do Tunisian crochet. That's fine. Some are knitters. I have a number of knitters that watch me, and that's perfectly good. But if you dye yarn, if you felt, if you weave, whatever uses yarn, then it's acceptable. And that's why it's called a MAL, make along, not a CAL, either C or K. It's a make along, something with yarn. Doesn't matter what yarn. You know that I always use hand-dyed yarn pretty much. There may be 1 or 2 this year that I won't be using hand-dyed yarn. We'll see. But yes, yarn. It's a yarn item using the colors that are in the picture. You can use stash or not. It's up to you. I did go through my stash this fall and pick everything that I wanted. Hang on just a second. And that's great. Some of you use it to as your inspiration to use up your stash. But it doesn't, you don't have to use your stash. That's your choice. Then when you finish making your item, the item has to, you have to take a picture. And I would caution you a little bit in your picture taking. Sometimes we really don't see the color properly, or we can't see the item, you're too close or whatever. Try to take it in outside light and natural sunlight. I know it's winter here. We don't feel like going out in the winter, but near a window that has sunshine or a good light so we can see your item. So you must send me a picture by the deadline that I will give you. And when you email me, and my email is always in the description box below, judyscreations21 gmail.com. The picture must, of course, have your name. Your email must have your name, where you are from, the state or the province. You don't have to give me the city. If you're from some other country, just the country will do, like those that are in Australia, or I have one from Singapore this month. And if you used a pattern, we really like to know the pattern name and designer. Lots of times we see things in the slideshow that really interest us and we want to make them. So it would be very helpful to know the name of the pattern and who the designer is, or the YouTube tutorial you used, whichever that is. We'd really appreciate that information along with your name and where you're from. And as you can see, I have a couple of Debbies and a couple of Melissas and a couple of Bonnies. And at one time I had 4 Lisas. Seem to only have one that's hung in there. So knowing where you're from allows me to put your state on your name so I can keep track of who's who when we spin the wheel. So I think that covers everything. And oh, now we need, come on, Judy, we want to see the picture. So I tried to pick a fairly colorful one for the first month, but some of them only have 2 colors in the picture. So here is the butterfly for January. I'll fill the screen. I'll give you time to take a picture or whatever it is you do to get a copy of it, because I know that most of you take a screenshot and save the picture so you have it to refer to. And I think there are several colors in this picture. Now, I am going to put the picture beside me as I show you the yarn I have selected. Here is my yarn. It's from EFA, and once again, I'm using pearlescent fingering. And I think you can see a little bit of that sort of teal color in with the blues. All right. So to me, those were the colors that were in the butterfly. I don't think there was white, but I don't mind if a neutral gets added, like a white or a black or a cream. Sometimes that's necessary in your picture, but this is predominantly blues and the teal color that are in the picture. I have only one skein. It does have 550 yards, so I'm probably going to be making I've picked out my pattern already, and it is a 1 skein kind of scarf or shawl. Okay, so that's January, and I have added something extra this year. I will be giving the cakes of yarn as the gifts every month until I run out of them. Then we'll pick something else. But the other extra I have done, because, you know, there were so many beautiful butterflies and I had to condense and I had to be, I'm pretty sure I didn't get any AI kind of pictures. But I decided that I was going to do, because I couldn't get down lower, and I decided I was going to do a bonus butterfly for the year. So here is your bonus butterfly. We're all familiar, I think, with the monarch butterfly. Have you had time to get your screenshot? And you say, so how does that work? Do we get 2 every month? No, we're getting 1 bonus butterfly for the year. And here is my point in doing it. Sometimes people have trouble finding a particular color. Let's say the month, the pictures basically, a lot of them have black. I'm going to tell you that right now. So if you're shopping bargains or sales, buy some black. Make sure you have black in your stash, because some months it is only black and 1 other color. Maybe it's, let's say, black and pink. Well, this one, black and orange. I'm not going to use it for an example. Supposing it's just black and pink, and you don't like pink, you've never bought pink, you don't have any pink, and you don't feel like going out and buying pink, although you'd only need one skein or one ball or one whatever to make an item. But you just don't have that color, and you aren't able to make that particular month's item. Well, you have a bonus. Anytime during the year you think you don't have the appropriate colors, single or plural, to make the item shown, you could make the monarch instead. Now, not everybody has orange. I'm not big for orange in my stash, but some of you, orange is, like yellow. I don't have a lot of yellow, but some of you have lots of yellow. Anyhow, this is how it's going to work. We have one bonus butterfly. You can use it instead of that month's butterfly to make your item, which means it's got to be orange and black. That's what's in the picture, orange and black. And when you submit it in your, by the way, in your subject line, you should probably put monthly MAL or January MAL or whatever. But would you please put in brackets bonus when you send it? Not that I'm not going to notice it's orange and black, but I don't know if I'm going to show them as a group at the end of the year, or no, I should show them during that month because you want to participate that month. So I will show it during that month at the end as the bonus, if there's one or there's three or there's whatever. But I think I might gather them up as a group and do one video with them at the end of the year as well. But here is the rule about it. You only get to use the bonus once. I am going to be keeping a piece of paper where I write bonus at the top, and I'm also going to write prize. And I never said this before, and I think it came up once, I'm not sure. But if somebody wins a prize one month, they can't win the next month. I think most people do that. So if your name comes up, I will respin. So I'm going to keep track. I never have. I'm going to keep track of who wins every month. And if somebody does the bonus, I'm going to write their name down. So you can only do the bonus once. So you want to be real sure when you don't do what's shown for the month and you use the butterfly, the monarch, instead of the monthly one, that you aren't going to have a problem later in the year. All right, you want to be real sure that's a color you would never have and have no intention about going and getting to use the bonus. But I thought, well, I could put it in one month and then I have to take something else out, and I had a hard time getting it down to 13, let alone 12. And I thought, let's try this for a change and see how it works. So there is a bonus one for the year that you can use whenever you like. Now, one last thing to take care of, and that is submission for your picture. So 1, 8, 15, it's Wednesday, 22 and 29. All right, 29, 30, 31. So it'll be on Saturday. All right, July has 31 days, and we've had pretty good luck with people remembering to get their picture in on the 27th. So I give 4 days, gives me 3. I think I'm going to go once more with the 27th. Remember, on the 31st, 29, 31. The 31st is a Friday. At least from my rough calculations here. 1, 2, 3, 28. And doing a video one day after the other usually presents a bit of a problem here with me finding the time to do it. Right now, I'm not making a decision. Will I do one video on Thursday that's both my regular and the end of the month or not? I'm not sure. But I'm going to say the 27th of January, and I'll put that, I always do a Instagram post. I'll put that date in the Instagram post. 27th of January, midnight that night or during the night, is the deadline for getting your picture for January to me. So I hope all of that has been real clear. Everybody understands what's happening. And today is the 31st, and it is a Tuesday. See, I'm taping ahead, so I gotta be sure on what I'm saying. The 1st is on Wednesday. I'll be back to you again on Thursday. So if there are questions, please feel free to put them in the comments below, and I'll try to address any questions that come up on my Thursday video, or you can send me an email. I always am happy to answer your emails. Can I make one personal comment? Edie, you sent me your picture for the month and I got it. And then last night you sent me another one. I guess you're concerned you didn't hear from me. Oh, that's another thing for those that are new. I always email telling you I received your submission. Edie, I did email you and it came back to me and said it couldn't be processed. So I'm not too sure what happened there. You want to check the email. Anyhow, that's it for the month. I didn't show you the monarch because it's getting long here, way longer than it should be. So I want to cut the video now. I will talk about it in Thursday's video. So until Thursday, I hope I'll see you again then. And until then, happy hooking.